Muy buenos días. A continuación, Radio Centro FM, con el auspicio del Distrito Escolar de Lancaster, presentan Creando Familias de Paz con Brother Frank. All right.
Oh, hermano, qué gran gozo verte otra vez.
Hola, brother, ¿cómo está?
Fantástico. ¿Y usted?
Muy bien, gracias a Dios.
Me alegra mucho verle.
Gracias.
Y gracias por el abrazo tan fuerte.
Hablábamos de eso precisamente en la mañana de hoy.
Oh, hermano, los abrazos son muy importantes. I was just telling Brother Hector, thank you for the great hug you gave me this morning. I'm telling you, a hug starts the day off, in the middle of the day, at the end of the day. We should be giving our children at least 4 hugs a day. I like to give 12. Okay, well, this program is such a pleasure to always be together. Estamos juntos otra vez por media hora. Hoy el tema es no dejando los hijos a manipularnos. Today the theme is we will no longer let our children manipulate us. Es muy importante que los niños sigan las instrucciones de una vez. It's very important that we teach our children to follow our instructions or the rules the first time we give them. Sácame la papa de la sopa. Quiero chicle. Pataletas a la hora de comer. Gritos a la hora de dormir. Y cada vez que se va a una tienda, un deseo muy grande para un boom, boom, boom. Todas esas acciones son muy difíciles de soportar. Get the potato out of my soup. I want some gum. Kicking and screaming when it's time to eat. Yelling when it's time to go to bed. And each time a child goes to the store, the great wish or yelling to get that lollipop. All of these actions are very difficult to live with. La noticia es fantástica. No tiene que serlo ya. Ya no más de eso. Well, the news is great, folks. It doesn't have to be that way. Los niños aprenden desde los 8 meses a aprender cómo manipular los padres, la madre y el padre. Children start manipulating at 8 months old. They manipulate and they listen for the tone of voice of the parents, and they are very intelligent people. So they know when a no means no and a yes means yes. Ellos saben cuando una no significa no y cuando una sí significa sí. Asistí a una conferencia en Colorado hace unos 20 años, dada por Jim Fay. Y él dijo que los niños siguen los padres. I went to a conference in Colorado some 20 years ago, and Jim Fay, who gave the conference and wrote the book that I'm going to talk about today, said that children will follow the parents. If the parents let them manipulate, they'll manipulate. If the parents have a tone of voice and are consistent with their message, there will be no manipulation and no yelling. At bedtime, no yelling at the time of eating, and no yelling if they don't get the sucker in the store. Los niños van a dejar de manipular si los padres son consistentes. Cuando dicen no, el no significa no, y no cambia. Los niños saben cómo empujar los botones de su mamá o presionar el papá. Y los padres y madres dicen, mire, no me enojan. Pero se enojan porque como padres y madres muchas veces estamos muy inconsistentes. Y si el niño ha aprendido como presionar hasta que la mamá deja que el niño recibe lo que quería. Children learn how to pressure until they get what they want. A la medida que los años avanzan, los niños día tras día, semana tras semana, mes tras mes, conocen mejor las acciones y reacciones de sus padres y madres. El tono de voz, la manera de pronunciar las palabras, la rapidez de las palabras, los gestos del cuerpo, el distanciamiento físico entre padre e hijo, las amenazas y todo lo que hace es leído y traducido por los hijos. Es muy interesante ver la diferencia del comportamiento de nuestros hijos con nosotros y con otros adultos. As we see the years continue to advance, children day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, know the actions of their parents or their brothers and sisters. They know the reactions, the tone of voice, the way the words are pronounced, the quickness of the words that come out of the mouth, the actions of the body, the hands, the physical distance between the parents and the children. It's read very well by the child. It's really interesting to see how children act and respond to their parents, who are often very inconsistent with giving and being peaceful and then yelling, and the way they act with other adults. Si tú quieres que sus hijos obedezcan a usted como obedezcan a los maestros en la escuela, pregunta al maestro, ¿qué hace usted para que mi hijo obedece a usted? ¿Por qué no obedece a mí? If you want your children to obey you and not fuss and whine, ask the teachers what they do because their child isn't fussing and whining like that at school. Es muy fácil ver a los alumnos en la escuela superior que los padres y madres den que sus hijos manipulan a ellos. Porque cuando son grandes, ellos muchas veces no obedecen los maestros y muchas veces no obedecen ni la policía. It's very easy to see as the children get older, and they're starting to feel some liberty then, which parents have been consistent and have not allowed the children to manipulate. Because if they have teachers that are inconsistent, then they will not obey the teachers either. Teachers who are strict and have good order of their classroom, the child submits because a lot of them would feel embarrassed in front of their own students to not submit to a teacher that is really fantastic. But teachers that are weak, substitute teachers, things like that, that maybe don't know the students real well, children that come from homes where they have learned to manipulate their parents, oftentimes will try to manipulate adults too. And these young people often have trouble in jobs and in society. Muchas veces los niños, cuando han podido manipular y al fin recibir lo que quiere, aprende estos hábitos en el futuro y tienen mucha dificultad en la universidad o en sus trabajos porque no reciben lo que quieren fácilmente. Mis queridos hermanos y hermanas, cuando decimos a los hijos no, esto significa no. Muchas veces cuando la mamá o papá dice no, realmente significa sí, si me pregunta 10 veces más. My dear brothers and sisters, I know I've talked about this before, and probably each year I'll bring it up a couple of times, but I work so often with children who have a real deficit in obeying the first time somebody says something. Because they have learned from their parents that even though mom and dad say no, if they pressure them enough times, it'll turn into a yes. Tenemos que decir a nuestros hijos, sí significa sí y no significa no. Y posiblemente poner avisos en la casa que dice mi no significa no, mi sí significa sí. I'm encouraging us to start today if we've been struggling. Each day is a new day, and we can change habits if we want to. Make a little sign that says, my yes is yes, and my no is no. Por favor, mi hijo, no vuelvas a preguntarme 2 veces. Mami y papi, escuchen eso. Uno paga ahora, uno paga más tarde. Please, my son, my daughter, don't ask me 2 times. Parents, listen to this. Pay now or pay later. Al tener la autodisciplina y permitir que el bebé llore por un tiempo porque ya es tiempo para dormir, o el niño de 2 años debe estar en su silla para comer en la mesa y está gritando, déjalo ahí, gritando. O necesita poner su cinturón en el carro, pon el cinturón y si llore, está bien. O es tiempo de levantarse para ir a la escuela. Si llora, continúa con amor, déjalo llorar, aportar la lloranta y muy pronto va a dejar de llorar. O no hay más comida sino la comida que está encima de la mesa. Si dice la comida en la mesa es lo que vamos a comer, no le dan ninguna cosa más. Si no quiere comer, está bien, Roberto, no tiene que comer. Mañana hay desayuno a las 7. Pero no más hasta el desayuno. Y uno no tiene que gritar. Hay patrones, hábitos de madres y padres. Uno habla en una voz suave y el niño va a ajustar el ritmo suyo si uno es consistente. I'm going to give some practical ideas here now. If we have self-discipline as parents and we let children cry until they see that they're not going to get their way, and I mean it could mean 45 minutes of crying at first. Many parents take the child from a situation and change their mind because the child starts crying. I'm talking about a kid now that's 8 months old and older. We might have to, at home, put up with some things as we're trying to change a behavior, some crying, some screaming, and we keep talking to them nicely. We don't react with crying and screams. For example, we let the baby cry if it's time to sleep. and we don't go and lay down with that child until the child goes to sleep. Otherwise, they will need us beside them all the time. So I used to go in with my daughters and lay with them for, 5-6 minutes, but not until they went to sleep. I would say, okay, Sarita, now it's time to go to sleep. Papi's going to be downstairs. And they learned how to go to sleep on their own. Yo recuerdo cuando mi hija, Sarita, quería que siempre alguien estaba allá acostado con ella. Para que ella pueda sentir segura, me acosté con ella por unos minutos, pero no hasta que ella dormía. ¿Por qué? Porque ella iba a depender de mí, la presencia mía. Y si uno quiere enseñar la independencia, poco a poco, el adulto se queda cerca, pero no en la cama, y se llore. Y el padre sigue hablando suavecitamente. Sarita, estoy aquí, tranquila, mamita, no vamos a salir. Y poco a poco ella aprendió y fue a la cama solita, siendo como niña chiquita. Our daughter Sarah had some trouble in the beginning, always wanting somebody to sleep with her. And my wife and I had kind of a difference in this. And I remember we had kind of a big argument one time. And little by little, my wife and I both agreed that it was important that Sarah go to sleep on her own. Didn't have to have an adult there. And I remember Sarah crying sometimes, and we would comfort her. The same thing, la misma cosa would happen when it was time to eat, and the girls didn't maybe like what we had to eat. We didn't argue with them. Okay, there was no need to yell. They needed to sit there at the table until everybody was done eating, and then if they didn't eat, they got no snack for the rest of the night. We always said to them, you'll be able to eat again at breakfast, 7 o'clock in the morning, or whatever time we were eating breakfast. But we didn't fight with them, didn't force them to eat. It's just that if they wanted any food later on, they needed to eat what had been served of them. Salad, vegetables, rice, beans, meat, whatever it was. A small portion of each. When it was time to put the seatbelt on the car, okay? So when they were little, they didn't want to put on. Well, hello, that's not an option. So if they cried, we didn't yell at them. We put the seatbelt on. Padres y madres, si somos consistentes, si decimos que tiene que hacer algo, tenemos que seguir, dejando que el niño siga las instrucciones. If we tell our children to do something, for example, if they're taking turns using a bicycle, there's one bicycle and you got 2 kids, you might say, okay, each one gets it for 10 minutes. Or if that doesn't work, both of you figure out what you want to work. But you got to be consistent. And if the parent allows the older one, for example, to have the bike for 20 minutes and the other child starts crying and that kind of thing, it can cause problems. So as parents, we follow through, we set the guidelines, and we teach the children then to come up with their own guidelines so they learn how to share. They learn how to be just and fair with each other. As parents, we need to be consistent. Tenemos que ser muy consistentes como padres. Si hay una bicicleta y 2 hijos, enseñamos a ellos cómo compartir. Por ejemplo, 10 minutos cada uno. Y si uno no quiere obedecer la regla, entonces la otra usa la bicicleta. Hasta que el niño que no quiere obedecer la justa regla, decide, bueno, voy a sujetarme a eso. Si los padres son consistentes, estables, los hijos también salen así. Al tener hijos que cuando tienen 5, 8, 11, 14, 17 años, que nos dicen sí, claro, les pedimos un favor, cuando les pedimos un favor o les damos un orden, es mejor comenzar a los 8 meses. If we want children who at 5, 8, 11, 14, 17, when we ask them to do something, say, okay, and then they do it, it's best if we start when they're 8 months old. Tiempo para la cuna, qué tristeza. Y en la cuna la hija patalea, grita, media hora puede ser. Y yo hablando en voz suave, porque ella no estaba haciendo cosas presente malas, llorando cuando debería, cuando no tenía que llorar. I remember when Sarah was very small, I would sing her the uh-oh song instead of yelling, because I'd get frustrated sometimes. But remember, they start manipulating at 8 months. So it was, uh-oh, time to go to your playpen. How sad. And then until we got this little plan working, she might kick and scream. We didn't leave her. I stayed close by, and I said, honey, when you are speaking or when you are calm, I'll take you out of the playpen. And pretty soon the girls learned that if they controlled themselves, they didn't have to take a forced time out. And they couldn't do anything to make us yell or scream. Las niñas aprendieron temprano que para no tener un time out enforzado o presionado en su cuarto o una silla, tenía que obedecer. Y no podrían empujar un botón a nosotros para que íbamos a gritar para nada. A crear un hijo es una etapa de la vida que uno debe disfrutar al máximo. Debemos disfrutar cada etapa. To raise our children in each stage really should be fun. I'm not saying it's not hard work, but it should be fun. We should be enjoying life with our children to the maximum. Los niños son muy inteligentes y son muy moldeables. Uno casi puede entrenar al hijo a hacer lo que uno quiere. Children are very intelligent and they're moldable. A parent can actually train a child to do anything that the parent wants. It, of course, should be good for the child. Los padres y madres hace 50 o 100 años atrás y por el resto de la historia enseñaron a los hijos a trabajar en las fincas, las huertas, recogiendo leña, cortando pasto, lavando ventanas, lavando pisos y baños, haciendo la comida con los padres y madres. Parents 50 to 100 years ago and all of history in the back taught their children a lot of things to do around the house, to work on the farm, to work in the garden, to get firewood, cut grass, washing the house windows, washing bathroom floors, kitchen floors, helping the parents cook. Hoy en día los electrónicos tienen los hijos entretenidos y se han acabado con muchos de los dones anteriores. De mi punto de vista, es sumamente importante tener todas las cosas electrónicas apagadas la mayoría del tiempo en la casa. Esto está mostrando autocontrol a los hijos. Today, electronics, television, computers, iPhones, all kinds of cell phones have really taken the place of children doing a lot of things around the house. And they're losing work ethic. From my point of view, it's great to walk into a home where nothing electronic is turned on. No television, no computer, no cell phones. That is showing self-control. Cuando nuestra hija mayor tenía 7 años, estaba en segundo grado, ella estaba tomando lecciones de piano. Su maestra le pidió que practicaba 40 minutos cada día. A Jenny no le gustó practicar 40 minutos enseguida, entonces se le ocurrió a tocar piano antes de la escuela temprano por la mañana. When our oldest daughter, Gently, was 7 years old, she was in 2nd grade, and she was taking piano lessons, and her teacher asked her to play 40 minutes a day. Well, 40 minutes in a row seemed a little bit too much for her. So she said, Poppy, why don't I do 20 in the morning and 20 now? I said, Gently, that's a fantastic idea. Well, the problem was I was at school already at 7 o'clock in the morning. Her mother was still sleeping. So this is what she did. En aquel tiempo salí para mi trabajo a las 6:30 de la mañana y mi esposa todavía estaba durmiendo. Entonces Gently puso su alarma a las 7 y le enseñé a saltar de la cama cuando su alarma sonó. Después ella puso un temporizador para vestirse en 10 minutos para estar en el piano 10 minutos después de levantar. Repuso su temporizador para 20 minutos y practicaba feliz mientras mi esposa estaba levantándose. In that time, I already had gone to work at 6:30, so I was gone. My wife was still sleeping. Gently wanted to start practice. She wanted to get up at 7, so she set an alarm for 7. I taught her how to jump out of bed when the alarm clock went off. She set a timer for 10 minutes because she wanted to be at the piano at 7:10. Set another timer down at the piano from 7:10 to 7:30. She got her 20 minutes in, and she was as happy as a lark. En este caso, la alarma estaba hablando a mi hija y ella le prestó atención a ella de una vez. In that situation, the alarm clock was saying to my daughter, get up, and she paid attention to the alarm. Gracias, mis hijos, mis padres y madres. Thank you, parents, for listening. We really, really want to have a world where our children love life and listen the first time that they've been given an instruction. Remember, let's never go to bed angry, my friends, and love life. Give your children hugs and tell them how wonderful they are.